General Protocol Spaces, Banking on Freedom.
Let's get started. So welcome to General Bull 17 of N. We have two pretty exciting things to talk about. I'm really looking forward to learning more about them. I've been nose down in coding a lot recently, and I haven't been able to keep up with everything. So I'm along with you here to learn what's going on, and I'm excited about it. So one of them is Monero BCH atomic swaps. That's by Pat and BCA, Bitcoin Cash Autist. And Pat is here. So thank you very much for joining us, Pat, to help us understand that. And then after that, we're going to talk about the conference that has just been announced. And this is shaping up from my perspective, what it looks like to me to be one of the real BCH hardcore conferences. I'm super looking forward to this. So yeah, let's get started with the Monero BCH atomic swaps. Pat, what should we call you here? So this is actually the first time that I've had a chance to talk with Pat on voice. So Pat, how should we call you? Mainnet Pat, or what should we call you?
I guess Pat is fine.
All right, Pat it is. So could you give us a very, very high level concept? I think a lot of people hear Monero BCH atomic swap, and I think they get the idea, right? Like you can turn BCH into XMR, or you can turn XMR into BCH. But could you give us a little bit, like one level, a little bit deeper than that? Like what's going on? Why is this hard? Why is it special? Yeah, whatever kind of outline you would like to share. But before that, I'm sorry. Could you give us a quick intro about your projects and the things that you have done in BCH? Because you have done a lot. And so I'd like to make sure that's out there a little bit at the beginning.
Yeah, sure. So yeah, I'm active as a developer in BCH space since 2020, I think. And I was working closely with Readcash Simon, and I've been helping him out with a lot of coding for Readcash back in the times. But then at some point he reached out to me and proposed me to work on his library. Back in the time, he did a big flip starter for it, raised a lot of money, which was quite a substantial amount to invest into this project. And I have joined this project with Simon, 2QX, and myself. I was not at the very beginning of this project, but I immediately jumped in and started contributing a lot. So I think I have done a lot of stuff, and a lot of features were added by me there. Most notably, back in the time, it was SLP support, because everyone was like very hyped about the token system, which was praised at that time. And a lot of projects were building on the SLP protocol, and we all know and aware of that, of the limitations associated with it. But back in the time, it was very much interesting for everyone. So I have started contributing and going deeper and deeper into this field of programming, so to say, for BCH, knowing more about and learning more about the ecosystem of the network basics and so on. So I rapidly grew and grew my skills too. So I have been working on this quite a lot. And then when the Smart BCH came, thanks. This is very interesting job for me. So it really is multifaceted. So basically, you can do everything around BCH, from infrastructure to development and operations to, I don't know, conceptual work, like speaking about new improvements and numerous topics. And that's exciting work, and I'm really enjoying and glad that I'm surrounded by talented people and can contribute my part. So yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. if I want to name things more specifically that people might have missed in that, because there's a lot there that you have worked on. So you've worked on, and correct me if I'm wrong, but you've worked on read cache. You worked on the extensions of that, or the repackaging of that happened later. Also, there was read cache, and then I'm sorry, what was the name of it?
The noise cache.
Yes, that one. So you've done those, and then also mainnet, the library underneath it.
Yes, exactly. So I went from read cache to mainnet cache, and I was not really working for noise cache app. So it was just a library which was the major consumer of mainnet.js. So I was very responsive to realize some concepts which were needed by noise cache, but I was not doing direct work for them, so to say.
Okay, so read cache and then mainnet, which a lot of people have used. It's the underlying library that apps can use to work with Bitcoin Cash easily. And then after that, at least other big name things, there's Wallet Connect, which I believe you developed that initial specification and library, right?
Yeah. So at the time before last upgrade in May 2023, I dove into cash tokens topic, and basically it all began from November 2022 when I have implemented cash tokens support in mainnet.js, and I think it was maybe pioneering work in this field, and it was quite a challenge and quite a task to pull out, but still it sparkled a lot of interest, like from Matthew and from other consumers who use the mainnet cache. But then in April, we were preparing for the cash tokens release, the cash tokens upgrade, and I've been working with Paytaka team, and we've developed that Paytaka Connect protocol to enable the first NFT minting contracts and to explore how to give user applications more Web3 like appearance and communication, because you know of the limitations of built-in wallets in the browsers, mostly the security considerations and user mistrust, where they are more hesitant to use such applications which have embedded wallets. So we've been thinking about this and wanting to kind of reproduce the MetaMask approach, and then I have started to learn about these protocols a lot. Back in the time, I was not aware that Wallet Connect 2 is a thing, and that it went multi-chain, and multi-chain in the sense that it's not only Ethereum based or supporting not only Ethereum chains, but any chains. I have discovered this in the beginning of June, and I have seen that this Paytaka Connect approach, it just lays and is organically could be implemented on the Wallet Connect, because it becomes just a transport layer for some interface for communication protocol.
Right, exactly.
And I have just used yes, and I have used this Paytaka protocol. It was not a spec, but maybe a living spec, and implemented it over the Wallet Connect, and have added this the initial implementation to Cashenize. And it just works. Now many applications are using this Wallet Connect protocol and wallet interaction stack, and most notably the TapSwap cache, which I have developed.
I was going to bring that one up next.
Yes, and my idea was to give those newcomers who are coming from maybe the Ethereum networks the same vibe they get when they interact with their marketplaces, such as, I don't know, OpenSea or Blur, so that they can do some actions without trusting their keys to some remote site and not being in fear to be scammed or drained or something like this. So my big concern and maybe hope was that we will win more audience, more people who are interested in buying tokens on our network. So for them, this complexity of cash tokens, I don't know, UTXOs should be hidden. So they should just be able to pay some cash, Bitcoin Cash, and take in exchange some fancy NFTs. Because when we speak about NFTs, majority of people are perceiving them as funny collectibles.
Right. Yes.
Yeah, and yeah, that was my whole idea behind. And luckily, BCA came in the time and proposed his beautiful swap contract for the cash tokens, and it was simply beautiful because of its simplicity and what it allows to achieve, basically.
That's right. This isn't
So,
the
and
first collaboration with you and Bitcoin Cash Authis with BCA. That's right. I had forgotten that. Oh, and the Emerald DAO also.
yeah,
You helped him develop the Emerald DAO as well, the interface, the app for the Emerald DAO, right?
Oh, he did a lot of work by himself. So he admitted he is not a coder, but when I gave him some basic tools, I was impressed how much he was able to build by himself.
I can totally.
So he took my he took my MVP or proof of concept code for Bitcat's minting website and just converted into the Emerald DAO minting website, and it was amazing how much you can achieve in limited time.
It's amazing
but
the first time.
If you are passionate about some idea,
it's amazing the first time, and then he just keeps repeating it. People like motivated, intelligent people like Bitcoin Cash Authis, like Matthew, who's a trained economist, but he's like, whatever, I'm gonna make apps and wallets too. Intelligent, motivated people can do all kinds of fantastic things, and not only development but other things as well. It's great. Okay, wait. So there was Recash, Mainnet, the library. There was TapSwap. There was the Emerald DAO. There was the Wallet Connect protocol. Are we missing any big names here? And the Paytaka
I think
plugin. You did a lot of that, or some of that.
Yes, yes, I have helped Paytaka implementing the cash tokens support, and this plugin I have been extending their web extension to support numerous features which were relevant to the upgrade. But of course, it was our collaboration to launch the first NFT minting project on the BCH.
Bitcats, right? That was the first.
Yes.
NFT.
Bitcats, exactly.
Yes. Okay. And we may still be missing things, but I just want to make sure that the people listening understand you have gone from, successful, important project to project. So I think everyone appreciates that so much. But I just wanted everyone listening to understand like the scope and the scale of all the things that you have worked on. So now, I'm sorry, can we go back to the original question, which was, could you give us a quick high-level introduction to what this BCH Monero atomic swap is that you and Bitcoin Cash have worked on?
Yeah, so a little bit of background to this. I have seen the BCA mentioning this and bringing this up quite a number of times already, the request to implement this, and it was just a boring 1st of January evening, and I was like, what should I do? I'm a bit bored. And I have seen his call once again, and I was like, maybe I should give it another read, because I have been studying this paper already, bringing it up and going over the BCR topic and the discussion several times. But this time I was like, well, let's give it a deeper try, deeper understanding. And then I was reading the paper, getting the gist of these adapter signatures and looking at the already implemented BTC XMR swap in Rust, and just trying to connect all the dots. And it suddenly all started to make sense to me. The major hurdle was to the lack of advanced cryptographic tools on the TypeScript, my main programming tool. And I was like, what can I do? And then I have started to try out in small portions to make this Rust code compile in the WebAssembly so that it would be available in the web context, so in web browsers or maybe in Node.js. And surprisingly, it just worked. So the concept was sound from the very beginning that I should port something and not trying to reinvent the wheel, especially when it's considering the security aspects. So not doing something from scratch and just reuse the proven tools. And yeah, in 3 days, I think I have came up already with some working solutions where I have done a successful proof of concept, like locking the coins and spending them. And yeah, back in the time, I was not aware that there is a competition and that the PH Citizen is coming very close to finish his project. And then, yeah, I just wanted to finish this because I was very passionate about this project, and it just drove me kind of a lot.
That's great.
And I was in the sleepless nights. Yeah, I've been coding in the sleepless nights, and it's an enormous amount of satisfaction that everything falls in places and everything works as you would assume. And yeah, big, of course, props to BCA for maybe hand holding me in the beginning, pointing me at the right places where I should reread the paper, try to understand. Then I had some, I don't know, technical difficulties that signature formats would not match, and I would need to check the encodings and so on. But it was all just technical. So just with enough attention, and if you understand the concept and not trying to stab in the dark, it just makes sense. And then if it compiles in your head, then it will compile in your computer. So
that sounds like
I
Bill
just
Gates level. Yeah, I compile it in my head first.
yeah.
Okay.
Well, yes, this is how programmers think.
It's true.
If you evaluate the context, then it should click in your head first, and then you should spend some time on proving that it should work. But yeah, so
that's
yeah,
great. What's
the thing is when we speak.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I just wanted to give a bit of high level understanding to everyone, so that when we speak about swaps, it's not really a kind of a breach. It's a cross chain trade. You trade your asset on one chain to another asset on another chain. So basically, it's a coin exchange between counterparties. And it's not like a breach, if anyone would confuse themselves with that. You do not breach anything anywhere. You do not involve cash tokens in this sense, but BCA already worked out that you could trade cash tokens for XMR or for any remote asset. And yeah, between the XMR and BCH, it involves a bit more of crypto magic, because there is this discrete logarithm equality proofs that those points on different cryptographic curves and those public keys which you operate or make a proof for, they really belong to the same private key. And because Monero and BCH cryptographic curves, they have some similarities. You could use basically the same secret key on both chains and produce valid public keys for them on both curves. Yeah, and this is why Alice can trust Bob that he is in possession of the secret key. And the thing is that in order this swap to be successful, Alice should learn Bob's public key. And to do so, Bob would need to leak it, and leak in a way that he should do some on-chain operation with his private key on BCH. Bob is on BCH. So the thing is, the paper authors, they describe this concept of adapter signatures, where Alice and Bob can sign some or encrypt some message with their not so secret key, and it would only make sense to decrypt it to either of them, but not to the third party. And by doing so, they are in turn making it so that the counterparty could read or could learn some information about their one-time swap secret key. I think it's better shown in a presentation that spoken in words about.
Yeah.
But
the
still,
diagram can
the
show
concept
it.
itself, if you would understand it, it's not that hard. It's more technical than
It's like a
complicated.
procedural
So
issue.
basically, if you
It's less of a fancy math issue and more of a procedural issue. Is that a good?
once you have all the crypto tools to use in place, then it is not that hard. You just need to apply this encryption decryption scheme. You should implement the protocol in a meaningful way that the messages should be exchanged between Alice and Bob, that they should somehow come up to the common terms like time locks, timeouts for the swaps, and so on, like exchange rate, of course. And I mean, it becomes just more technical than crypto magic.
So if I can try
this is my entire point.
Okay, that's great.
Sure.
Let me try to summarize that, and please tell me if I get it right. And also, I think Uname had some thoughts on this, but let me make sure I get the just very high level summary right. So there's two people, one on BCH and one on Monero XMR, and they both have a private key that represents some ownership of coins on each side, or on one side or the other side, and they reveal to the other person, hey, I'm the owner of these coins, and I'm the owner of this private key on BCH network, and I'm the owner of this private key on the Monero network. So I prove it on both sides, and both people prove it on both sides. And then at that point, they can create some procedure by which, lock times and whatever the low level details of it, they can prove to each other like, hey, when this happens, I'm giving you the money, and when that happens, you're giving me the money, and we check each other by having proven to each other that we own the private keys on both chains. Is that fundamentally the summary of it?
Almost. Apart from signaling the trade readiness to each other, they also commit to this trade by sending to an address from which they cannot any longer spend the coins. So they basically lock them. Yes.
Okay. And then that commitment is believable because they have proven on both chains that they are the person making that commitment, and that they are the person to deal with.
So before we get to anything else, I want to ask a thing that has been bothering me for a while. So what is the state of SPV on Monero? And I'm asking this question because because Atomic Swaps has a very cute caveat, which is that both parties need to be sure that there is some coins to be claimed by this hash lock contract on both chain on their or not necessarily on both chains, but on the side of the chains where they get paid in the first place. And usually, in Bitcoin Cash, we don't really think about it because it's kind of a given. Okay, you have a you have some coins. Here's the transaction that has this coins, and then and you have a wallet. You have a wallet through the magic of SPV. You should already be able to know from somewhere that this coin is available to be claimed. I don't I don't have a very good idea how that works in XMR because the last time I touched it was like several years ago, and back then light wallets were not really a thing. You either use a custodial wallet or you run the node. And back then I ran an XMR node. It was kind of fun. It was clumsy, but it was kind of fun. And so had my wallet. Is SPV or just like non-custodial light wallets of any kind a thing in XMR today, or is it still a thing that you basically have to choose?
Yes. So for this, you could either bring up your own node and let it sync,
Right.
or you would create a light node which would connect to a network of peers,
Right.
basically which connects to the full nodes. Either you would trust some other nodes that this information about certain address is correct, that it holds the coins indeed, or you would let your node sync the full blockchain for you, and as well from a snapshot they have this fast sync techniques, or you would you would choose either to sync yourself or to connect to you would connect your node.
Right. So say
It would be still a wallet node, so you would be running your own wallet software, but it would connect for the peer-to-peer messaging with other
right.
nodes. So basically, you would not deliver, or you would not share your private keys or your wallet data to other nodes. You would only make the network lookups. So think about this: like their nodes are also the RPC interface providers. So basically, what they did, they made their RPC public, because currently the Bitcoin Cash RPC is private, and you would not, for example, if I know the address of your node, I will not be able to send some RPC request to it unless you would permit me. But they went a bit ahead, and they are serving the nodes as RPC providers too.
Right. Okay. So basically, you either run a node, or if you don't run a node, you query some online nodes. But as far as I can tell, there's no or not yet any mechanism where the nodes can just prove to you that they're telling the truth. You ask them, and you either trust them, or you just ask many people and hope that they are not all lying. Is that correct?
Well, so I can as well approach this from a different angle. So every Monero address has some keys,
Yes.
two keys.
Yes.
First one is the spend key,
Mhm.
and second one is the view key.
Yes.
So without sharing with the counterparty your view key, the counterparty would never learn about any balance of yours. But as soon as you would share with them your view key, public view key, they will be able to see that you are in possession of some coins.
Yes. I know that part. That is more of a privacy concern, but it's not really a privacy concern that I'm asking. It's more about a truth and lying kind of concern. They tell
Yes.
something. How do they prove that they are not lying?
Yeah, I'm not sure if I can answer this in details, but once again, if you find yourself in a trusted setup, then you would reduce the trust by querying several nodes about this address. And if the chances are they all in cahoots and lie to you, will become lower
Right.
the more nodes you would query about this information.
Yes. So just like how the Electrum network proves absence in this case.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I just want to know what the current state is. Okay. That's good. That's good to know. Carry on.
Nice. Okay. Thanks. So then we have this setup, the technical setup for doing the swap, BCH XMR, and at a very high level, what's the issue? So if someone is sitting there with BCH or with XMR and they say, I want the other one, what's their trade-off versus going through a centralized exchange or going through DEX like Binance? Let's say Binance, going through Binance or going through ThorSwap. What's their trade-offs with those? What's the cost benefit of those versus those?
Yes, first of all, when you deposit your XMR or BCH to an exchange or to some protocol, exchange protocol, you would your coins would leave your possession. So first of all, they become not yours for at least for some time until you would I don't know make a swap or I don't know, buy sell order on their conversion. And if this exchange in the meanwhile goes bust, you can say goodbye to your coins. But in the atomic swap situation, you would deposit your coins to some address from which you cannot immediately spend it back to yourself. So there is no chance that you send your XMR somewhere, pretend you deposit it for the swap and take it back immediately, because you cannot do this, because for this you would need to know the secret key of your counterparty, and before it happens that the counterparty would make the next move in the sequence of actions to finalize the swap, they will not leak this. But after some expiration time, you would be able to return into yourself. And the party which goes missing in action, they will be punished for not showing up to the swap. Because as soon as you commit to a swap, like sending the coins to the swap address, you as well have some recovery mechanisms which allow you to get back your coins. Even if, I don't know, Binance would go down, as soon as BCH or Monero will not go down as networks, you would not lose the possession of your coins. Maybe you would need to wait for some, I don't know, day or some hours to get back to your coins, but still it is provable that you will be able to return them to yourself.
And what's the
on both sides?
What would be the risks? So, for example, if I had some tool, because I assume that you and BCA are going to come up with that's part of the flip starter, I believe. The proposal is to create a tool that you can actually use to do this, not just a concept and tooling for it, but a thing that you could go and use to do this. Is that correct in the first place?
Yes. So first of all, I would need to.
Okay, yes. So sorry. If that is the case, then what would be the downside? What would be the risk or the flip side of, oh well, if you do this, then it's going to be harder, or what's the downside?
I'm not sure which downsides are you referring here. If it's like if it will be custodial solution or not, it will not be custodial solution. We will not get into the possession of any of the coins. We will make I call it matchmaking system, so that people can come to this place, see some orders posted by counterparties, and can take these orders. So initiate the trade, and then the sequence, they would need to perform the sequence of actions to finalize the swap. And we, of course, would like to provide all the tools so that not only people who are willing to do interactive swap, like you and I coming into the common chat and start to exchange this information in, I don't know, in hex strings, and then pushing it per hand somewhere, and I don't know, this laggy user experience in a non-automated way that we need to respect the protocol, copy the right values into the right text boxes and so on. Of course, this will be provided, the interface for interactive swaps, but we would like to have as well the tools for the automation of the entire process. So you would trade with some trade bot. For example, I don't know, on every exchange, they are filled with bots posting their orders into
Yes.
the order book, constantly posting them, constantly canceling them, and so on to track the market price. So the same we envision for a automated market maker, or I don't know, a robot, a trade robot, which would become your counterparty. And as soon as it is profitable for them to take your order, like they would have 1% markup or on whichever terms they would like to implement this, they would take this trade and it will go non-interactive. So a lot of message exchanges and everything will go unnoticed by user. So the swap will become like more automated.
So if I can try to summarize that and make sure that I understand, because that sounds fantastic. So what you're saying is the main benefit of going to something like Binance is you just go in, you log in, and you click a few buttons, and as long as you understand the system and how it works, you can just click a few buttons and achieve whatever it is you were intending to achieve with a BCH XMR trade. But what you're saying is not only is this a setup where you can achieve the swap, but it's a setup where you can also go to it and do it in a non-interactive way without having, and I'm not sure about this because I don't think you said it exactly, without having to do something like go find somebody to trade with, right? Like a P2P exchange where you have to go find somebody. This is a P2P exchange where you publish, hey, I'm looking to do a trade, and somebody else comes and takes
Yeah,
that trade, and there's no Binance in the middle. So there's no intermediary. There's
yeah.
no financial institution, as it says in the Bitcoin white paper. There's no financial institution in the middle that's mediating this exchange. You just publish it on chain, and somebody else is able to fulfill it on chain. Is that correct?
Exactly. So imagine you would come to this, I don't know, portal to adapt, and then you would signal to the network, hey, I would like to exchange this much BCR for this much XMR. And if a trade robot would say, oh, this is a profitable swap for me, it would just automatically, in a non-interactive way, do all the sequence of the swap procedures for you. So you would not need to negotiate the rate with your counterparty going, I don't know, missing, and you would need to pull out your hairs and so on. It would just, it should happen, especially for the BTC swaps, within one confirmation.
Okay.
So it should be a very smooth and fast process.
Okay. Let me ask. Are you there? Can you give me a skeptic's perspective on this? Like, hey, wait, no, it can't be as easy as Binance. Right? Like, can you give me a perspective on that?
So the obvious problem with any trade is liquidity. It doesn't matter whether it's centralized or decentralized, and it is no different for atomic swaps. So one thing that I observe in you know EVM style DEXs, and hopefully soon to be Cauldron Swap, is that they succeeded in a large part due to their innate ability to concentrate liquidity, and so people can just go there and swap. There's very little friction to that. You don't need to go on a Telegram room and bang on people's doors and argue with them about price. You can just go there and there is a price and then you swap it. That's the thing. So atomic swaps is of course doesn't deal with this intrinsically. I do think I do think that it will do well as part of something bigger. I just I don't know I don't know how well it would do like by itself. Maybe there are some examples where it has done well, but it all depends on context. That's what I'm saying.
Could I summarize that as, if you don't have some kind of availability of liquidity provider or providers on each side, then
Well, not
you're going to
necessarily.
end up in a price discovery problem where the naive
Well,
user is going to get fleeced.
not just not just a liquidity provider. Then it's not a fleecing problem. It's I mean, people are responsible for the price that they buy or sell things into. It's not a fleecing problem. It's more of a, okay, you need a liquidity provider. You need people who provide liquidity. You need people who trade to feed those liquidity,
Right.
and
Okay.
they need to be on a friction. Low friction place on a platform, and hopefully all these things added together would also conform to the advantages that atomic swaps provide, which is
Got
that
it.
it's non-custodial and things. Because on any of these points, if you compromise on that, then it becomes pointless. So
right, it becomes a pain in the ass,
Yeah.
and then the
And
convenience
as well,
is lower, and then it just, by the nature of the dominance of convenience, people are like, and they use something else. Okay.
yeah, like
So liquidity providers, some larger context is necessary for this to work at any kind of scale where it's generally useful. That's the suggestion, right?
yeah.
Right. Okay.
yes, so the liquidity provider is basically your perfect user experience for a smooth cross-chain swap. But for the technology to work, they are not required. And you forget one very important thing when you say you deposit your XMR to Binance and do your stuff. First of all, Binance requires KYC to do so, and secondly, the major exchanges, they start just to delist the privacy coins, especially the XMR crackdown from the recent time. So this makes it even harder to people who are respecting their privacy. And I know a lot of people on the XMR, they are completely driven by the OPSEC concerns that they would never ever touch Binance or any centralized exchange. They would rather prefer any complicated way of P2P trade or swap. So, we, of course, we are targeting them too as our audience, as our core of the user base.
Right. So there's
to summarize
a
this, I would say that liquidity provider, the liquidity provider is not necessary for the technology to work, but it is a very good thing to have with a deep liquidity to ensure the smooth experience and to ensure that the service itself would be popular and prospering. As well, the liquidity providers will be earning some percentage from every swap. Let's say if they target 1% markup, that's you always multiply by volume and you get your profits.
Okay, I got it. So yes, there's always going to be a niche where the bar can be very high and they're still going to use it. But for this to achieve some kind of larger adoption and a utility at scale, let's say, it will require some form of liquidity provision or just network effect, right? Where there's so many people involved in this that the liquidity provision becomes an emergent thing that's available. So there's maybe going to be some spectrum of users and use cases that are available here. But yeah, okay, thank you very much. That's exactly what I was looking for, Uname. Thank you for explaining that there's
and as
there's,
well, you
there's
have
things to
mentioned
to make it more available to more users. Sorry, go ahead, Pat.
mhm. Yes, there is one thing you have mentioned, like the concentrated liquidity, and this is unachievable for XMR to BCH swap because XMR is not a scriptable chain, so you would not be able to provide some contract where people can have a share of the pool and I don't know, contribute the micro pool to become a micro liquidity provider to earn something from the entire system. So XMR would not allow you to do something like this.
But of course, someone
on
can
the
still run a
BCH
system that that is constantly observing the chain and constantly responding to published
yes.
positions. So yeah.
Yes, and as well, because every swap would need to have a unique pair of these secret keys, which are one-time use only for the trade. It must be interactive. At least you would need to interact with robot. But if you would try to interact with contract and trust this contract to generate you some random trading secret keys for one-time trades, it's a big complication, and it's not possible on unscriptable chains.
Right. Yeah, the unscriptable chains, Monero in this case, it's creates other issues.
And we can talk here about the swaps of BCH to other Bitcoin-like systems and to Ethereum. And BCA was restless on this, and he already works on
He's
this and
restless in
have
general.
figured out. Yes, and he already figured out how we would not only realize these swaps with BTC-like systems, being of course Doge, LTC, and whatnot, but also to do it more private and more compact in terms of the fees or network fees. So there is a lot of R&D already done.
Nice.
Because BCA can just not sit still.
That's fantastic.
Truly remarkable.
Yeah, I agree. Not only about him, but about you too, and BCH ecosystem in general. Just so many remarkable people.
Yeah, thanks.
Let me ask some specific questions. So we had a listener here, Mike Komaransky, who's a very experienced trader and long time Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash stakeholder. So he had some specific questions that I'd like to get a yes/no answer first about. So he asked,
Sure.
Is there already a BTC XMR atomic swap? So that's one.
Yes, there is one.
There is a BTC
yes.
XMR atomic swap. And I can imagine how
Yes.
poorly that works with the fee situation and block inclusion. Like you would get, yeah. So that would face all the,
you guessed it.
That would face all the common issues of, oh, it's there's no block inclusion and you may do RBF. So until RBF means replaced by fee. So until something gets into a contract, you absolutely cannot trust it. And
can I can I claim that? Yes, but no.
Yes, but no. Exactly. Yeah. Yes, it's there technically, but is it viable? No. And the reason is the blind auction on fees. Okay, so there's a BTC XMR swap. Yes, but no. Doge BTC. So I guess what he's getting at is, are these atomic swaps available just generally all over the place and they work well? Or is this something that is working well because BCH works well and XMR works well?
I'm not aware of any BTC to Doge atomic swaps, but I think this is realizable as well, because you, given the proper tools, like with these adapter signatures, which as well uses the discrete logarithm equality proofs, you could achieve basically a swap between any chain. So if there is none, then I might, if or I would rephrase, if I'm not aware of one, this does not mean that it's not have been realized. But of course, we are speaking here from the perspective of the BCH, and BCH allows us to build rich covenants, which would ensure and restrict the counterparties to behave in a certain predictable way, and not rely purely on the cryptography, but as well on the some business logic rules, which are carved in stone.
What if I asked a little bit differently? If BCH didn't have this rich virtual machine, covenant capabilities, would this work as well? But it works on BTC XMR, kind of.
Yes. So for this, basically, the present implementation of XMR to BTC, it does not use any contracts. It uses multi-sig transaction by progressively building the partially signed Bitcoin transaction, and you exchange this unsigned transaction between the counterparties, so that they would reconstruct their partial key from there. In our case, we leak it from the contract interaction, but in their case, they exchange this unsigned transaction, and inside it, with this partial part of the transaction was signed with this adapter signature, which needs to be extracted and then decrypted, and then you would learn your secret key. So it's, I don't know, jumping over the hoops, in my opinion, because it made the BTC XMR swap code a bit more complex than what we could have achieved with our covenants.
Right, okay.
Yes, but as you can imagine, Doge and LTC, they are spin-offs of Bitcoin, so they have the same PSBT, partially signed Bitcoin transactions mechanisms. So you could employ that.
Okay.
So what differs in terms of XMR is that you would need to prove that you are as well in possession of the same key on different curves. But since BTC-like networks, they all use the same elliptic curve, you would just have less cryptographic burden, so to say, to prove the atomicity of the swap.
Okay. All right. Let me ask a different question. He had a stack of questions here. Let me get to another one. So what about the XMR side, the Monero side? What's the stance over there, so to speak, on the Monero network? Are there any people in the audience here who could speak to that? Or like what's the level of cooperation here between BCH and XMR? How is that?
Well, as soon as I have started posting about this topic on Twitter, I have gained a lot of XMR followers, and they have been commenting under my posts, and they express support to this. Especially, they like, at least I get the sense that they like the idea that the BCH could become their on-ramp, off-ramp solution in terms of the situation when they will get delisted from every single exchange. They would just trade back and forth over these atomic swaps to still preserve their security and still continue enjoying the bailout chain. So I cannot say that there are some people in the audience, because I only see the speakers, and hopefully someone have joined from there, because I have been announcing this just before and a day before.
Yeah, that would be great. If there's any people who have been following this from Monero XMR community who would like to come up and say something about
that. But if you would say that, I could as well say that I cannot be be responsible to bring in the Monero awareness or make people flock into our discussions or make them contribute to this. So
yeah, no, of course. The question is whether this is a two-sided thing or this is just something that's being developed only on the BCA.
yeah,
But it sounds like
as I
there's
said, I have received some positive responses from the Monero followers.
okay, fantastic. Yeah, if there's anybody out there, please feel free to raise your hand or DM me or whatever it is, and we'll have a talk about it. So there's one more question, and this one is pretty impossible to answer, but it's about the risk of blacklisting, right? Because that's part of the reason. Okay, I'm not even going to ask a question. I'm just going to make a statement. So the question is about the risk of blacklisting of BCH addresses that have been involved with atomic swaps with XMR. And I'm just going to say myself, the whole point, of course, there's a risk of that because as far as legacy finance is concerned, it would very much like to have KYC on every single crypto transaction that exists. I think there's no question about that's what they would like to have. So I think I'm going to go in the other way in answering that question myself, which is, sure, of course they can do that. But the whole point of what we're doing is to set up permissionless money network that is the foundation for economy, for commerce, and that you can use as an alternative to the fiat networks that already exist. And they're very powerful and very useful. There's no doubting that. But what we're setting up is these networks that are also going to be useful and powerful for people to use. And if one side wants to blacklist the other, yes, of course that can happen. But it's not something you can use to guide all of the things that you do, right? This is some excellent things that are going on.
Yes.
They're very useful. And if somebody chooses to blacklist that, then, well, that's their choice to blacklist it. But in the meantime, our point is to build the economy on these permissionless networks.
Mm-hmm. I have an opinion on that. So, of course, it is possible to mark some address as tainted with mixing services. This is what they have been doing already. But as soon as you would enter the cash fusion frequently with this tainted money, basically half of the network becomes tainted, right? And as soon as you have the entire network of tainted coins, you cannot anymore restrict anyone because everyone is tainted.
Oh, well, you can.
Right?
The walls can be very high. The point I think we have is to make sure it's so useful that
this service
to be on one side than the other.
Yes, I think this service should be enjoyed with constant cash fusion.
Yeah. Fair enough. Exactly. And if people don't know, so there's cashfusion.org. There's wallets that are available, such as Electron Cash, the most common, the first one that implemented the Cash Fusion protocol. And there's Stack Wallet, and there's I believe Electron Mobile is doing it now also. I'm not sure about that. But there's several open source wallets that are using Cash Fusion, and you can achieve a very significant level of privacy through Cash Fusion. It's kind of like what people talk about with CoinJoins. It's a CoinJoin protocol, but it's way better than anything you've experienced on BTC or other chains. So if you haven't tried it, come take a look at just try it out with Stack Wallet or Electron Wallet, and you'll be amazed because you can just do fusion transactions all day long, and it's going to cost you pennies, like literal pennies for all day long. I'm not talking about each one. I'm talking about pennies for all day.
Just to be sure, it's like do fusion transactions all day long implies that it's something you do, like it's active work, but it's not. You just click a button and leave it there.
You just leave it there, and it does the thing. Yes, exactly. That's a very good point. Thank you. It's not something you have to participate in or sign up for or pay for or do any of that nonsense. It's just it's a protocol that works well. Doesn't matter what wallet you're using.
So yes, I would like to go back to the fundraiser and state that since BCA already have done a lot of research towards swaps with different chains, with BTC-like chain, and as well, Jerry from Bitcoin Bay have been exploring the swap with Ethereum. I think we can as well work further on this, and whenever the fundraiser will get funded, basically BCA already did a great chunk of work, and we will be starting doing this step, the application, which we promise, already in mind that it will become the multi-coin atomic swap one. So we will not target only XMR from the very beginning, but it would be rather a hub, a place where you could go shopping.
All right. Okay, great. This is okay. Thank you so much. So I've learned a lot here. I hope the people listening have learned a lot. If there's questions, of course, ask in the Twitter thread or Telegram or wherever you want to ask. And there's all kinds of people in BCH ecosystem who can cover any kind of question you have about it. So at this point, I'd like us to switch. We've been talking about over an hour here, so I'd like to.
Oh, would you give me one last
of course, go ahead.
Yes, sure. Before we switch the topics, I would like to say a word of appreciation, and I'm thankful for everyone pledging to this campaign. I would like to remind that it expires in just 10 hours, and hopefully we can get it funded. So thanks, everyone, and thank you for having me.
Yes, that's right. Wait, yes, I'm sorry. So please share the URL with everyone. Please say that, and I'm going to share it in the Twitter thread also.
So, John, I have the perfect switch for topic.
Just a second. Sorry, are you guys able to hear me?
Yes.
Oh, sorry. Pat, could you share the URL real quickly? Just say it out loud so that everyone can hear it.
I'm not sure. Yes, it's atomic-flip.pat.mn. I have sent you a direct message too, so you can just repost it.
Okay, perfect. I'm going to share that in the Twitter thread. And for people who are listening, if this sounds interesting, it doesn't matter if you're in BCH or Monero ecosystem, whatever it is, go check that out and participate. And this is a flip starter. So this is also a permissionless funding, crowdfunding setup. So it means there's no intermediary. It's just the campaigner and the people funding it. There's no intermediary in between. It's a fantastic setup. That's called Flipstarter. So go check it out and support that. Pat says it has, did you say 10 hours left?
Yes, it's only 10 hours left.
Okay. Get on there. Get on there and have a look at it and participate in permissionless crowdfunding. All right. Thank you, Pat, very much for that. I'm going to share that in the group here. Okay. So, Jonathan,
Thanks.
Sorry to interrupt you. What were you saying?
No worries. So I was saying I have the perfect transition. You see, Pat has also made TopSwap.cash. And as it happens, that is the tool that the conference is using to sell their tickets. So anyone that goes to TopSwap.cash can see the Bliss conference ticket as a featured item on the front page and can buy their ticket directly without providing like any personal information at all, and then come to the conference and have fun with this.
Let's go. Yeah. So I think Jeremy is on here, and you guys agreed. I think Jeremy is going to tell us a little bit about this BCH Bliss conference. I'm super hyped to hear about this.
Yeah, okay. So I guess the community has obviously been progressing from where it was at 3 or 4 years ago. I guess a little over 3 years ago, since I decided to get back more involved. And the first thing you got to do when you're building up a crypto community is you got to get a good presence online, because that's the easiest way to build network effect among what might be quite a distributed community, right? So you start online and you build up, and I think we've been doing a really great job of that. We're certainly got to the point that now we're riling up other ecosystems that are starting to feel a bit threatened, and that we're on their heels. And obviously as well, we also had a huge amount of innovation in the BCH space technically over the course of 2023, particularly with cash tokens and the upgrade. The chip process is still flowing really smoothly. So things were really heading in the right direction. And I have had the idea that, okay, I've done the podcast and Selene Wallet. And then the next thing I thought that we needed was some more physical meetups. Now, the idea was not actually mine. It actually comes from Jonathan, so he can give his inspiration story. But he mentioned to me, or maybe I think he posted about Twitter publicly, this vague idea to do some kind of BCH event. And I've thought for a long time that it's a shame that, firstly, that we didn't have an event at all in 2023. We had St. Kitts in 2022, and that was amazing. And the amount of value that I personally got out of that was huge in terms of the people that I met face to face and the trust that gets built in that kind of environment. And I think we've seen a lot of that over the last, year and a bit, basically since November of 2022. Now in 2023, it didn't happen because the community was kind of focused on other things. There was more going on. The price performance wasn't so great. A lot of different reasons. And I've always thought that, it was a shame that we would do episodes of the podcast where we would review what was going on at the Bitcoin conference in Miami every year, right? And maybe, positive or negative, what sort of the BTC side have been up to. So I've had it in my mind for a very long time that we need our own version of that, essentially. So when Jonathan was posting about, look, let's do an event and let's have a meetup, I immediately was like, well, this is it. Now's the time. So I messaged him and we started talking about it a little bit. And it started out as a very small idea. But as we got talking and we got excited about it and, more increasingly hyped up about it just amongst ourselves, the scale of it grew a little bit to the point that we're hoping to do like 100 people at this event. Neither Jonathan or I are experienced event managers. So for us, that's, 100 people is like a big deal, especially coordinating that internationally. And we knew that we would need some help on the sort of logistics and event management side anyway. So we also had Ryan Giffen, who many people know from the community. He's a bit more experienced in that regard and does a lot of work with restaurants and logistics and so forth. So we got him involved, and between the three of us, we started having a weekly call to create an event. And so that's kind of what we've just announced. It's called BCH Bliss because Jonathan came up with a list of a lot of different potential names for the conference, and I had a look over them, and almost all of them I thought were terrible. But he had one on there that was called Block Size Limit Improvement Scaling Solution or something like that. And I thought, okay, never mind about that long and complicated word, but Bliss, that captures it really nicely. It starts with a B. Obviously, the vibe would hopefully be to give people a sense of being in like crypto heaven, or BCH heaven, that you're there with all the other BCH adopters and you can buy tickets in BCH and you can just do everything in BCH, obviously. So the location was because I believe that Jonathan has been looking into Slovenia, and there's quite a lot of crypto adoption there with the Go Crypto payment terminals. And I think we really wanted to do something in Europe, firstly because we're both in Europe, so that was more convenient in that sense, but also because it's been a while. There was the Australia conference in 2019, right? There was the Caribbean in 2022. So Europe has been a bit neglected in terms of having to proximity to the event. And so we felt like there would be a lot of people in BCH, maybe in Europe, who hadn't got a chance to go to one of the previous meetups that would want to get involved. And for my part, being more to do with the promotional side of it, I thought that we've come up with a good theme with the Jessicas, right? So a big shout out again to Almas Dast, who had the idea for the Jessica Abla name for the Jessica upgrade and the algorithm. And the community has picked up on that and seemingly really enjoyed it. And it's also been incredibly effective. The amount of people that seem to be aware of the algorithmic block size adjusting limit chip is incredible, even outside the BCH community, far more than any BCH upgrade that has happened previously. So seeing that, I knew that this was something that would be attention grabbing and interesting. And yeah, so we're hoping to have a really great conference that we can put on, give Bitcoin Cashers a chance to get together, to spend some time, do some talks on the upcoming and most powerful projects in the scene. Obviously, people who are contributing are going to be there. We're going to stream as much of it as we can online, and obviously make VODs and so forth afterwards, so that even for the people who aren't there, they can participate and be involved and see what's going on. And yeah, I'm just really excited, particularly with the Jessica NFTs. I was the NFT artist, such as it was, with a bit of time on some AI generating tools to come up with all of them. It's not really like a traditional NFT in the sense of CryptoPunks, where they all have 10 different attributes and then they mix and match them, or BCH gurus or anything like that. Because I had a sort of a different idea that I wanted it to capture the spirit of the sort of the times, right? Which is we're coming to this kind of very heavy AI period in history, I guess, in computer history and so forth. So I thought generating them with AI would be appropriate. And obviously for that reason, they aren't perfect. Like, you can tell that they are at the edges a little bit dodgy and so forth. But I like that. I think it's very authentic to the time that we have. And so there's 100 different ones that I generated by just tweaking the prompts slightly and then regenerating and messing around with it until I got 100 that I was happy with, which did actually take quite a while, but I'm very pleased with the result. And I tried to there's a good spread as well too. They don't have strictly attributes necessarily, but they do have a bit of a theme, right? Obviously a lot of them have green, but some have green hair, some have green sunglasses. There are a couple without sunglasses, but almost all of them have that. Almost all of them have the headphones. Some have, sort of tattoos or different poses, all that kind of stuff. So I'm going to be very interested to see now that we've released them all on TabSwap as to which ones people jump in and buy, because I tried to get a good spread as well too, because everybody likes something different. So it looks like right now we've sold 1, 2, 3. We've actually sold 6 already. It's quite interesting to see. A couple of them I kind of like. A couple of them are not even as much my favorite ones, but clearly somebody is loving them. So
that's fantastic.
That's great to see.
I posted mine in the Twitter thread here. I posted my my tickets that I got already, and the link right to tapswap.cash. You go there, and the top featured NFTs available are these tickets. So you can go online with the BCH smart contracts and buy the tickets to this conference. I fucking love it. This is amazing. It's perfect. That's how it should be.
Yeah. So I'm hoping we can set a bit of a precedent here. And I in fact, it was bizarre to me that I'd never even heard of a crypto conference doing anything like this. I thought for sure this would be something that the ETH community had thought of or done, but not as far as I know.
I have no idea if anyone in ETH has done it, but if we're going back to that, like, I'm going to tell my inspiration for this. So I went down to the Bitcoin Cash City conference, and I joined in St. Kitts as well. And they have been amazing experiences. So when it took a while and we didn't get the conference, I kind of got a bit frustrated. And then I see Tobias Ruck from eCash host an eCash conference where the website doesn't take eCash. So you can't buy the tickets in eCash. It's roughly just some thrown together, like I rented a room at a hotel, I sold by just letting you pay with fiat to me directly as a private individual. And as much as that isn't what I want to have, they ended up actually having a conference and we didn't. And that was like a kick in the butt on me, like, right, time to get something done. And so from there on, I wanted to kind of make something that would be just ever so slightly better than that at the minimum, solve the most basic part, like make sure that people can pay in BCH. But I also always had that feeling that I kind of want to show people, right, what does it actually mean to be able to spend BCH wherever you go? How did it feel to be down in the Bitcoin Cash city and not take up my credit card for 10 weeks? That's a very, very different feeling from where I live right now, where I get to spend, some BCH online here and there. So I looked at Europe, and there is a hotspot in Ljubljana, Slovenia, the home of Go Crypto, where I don't know if you can live your entire life on BCH there at this point, but you can go to a grocery store, like a supermarket, and you can go to Burger King, and you can get a room at a hotel. And so I decided to pick that as the spot so that whoever does come gets to have that experience of you don't need your fiat here. You can actually live entirely out of BCH for the duration of the conference. Now, I also
and I don't think people really understand that. Sorry to interrupt, but
yeah.
So I've been through several of these shifts, right? And you have too, but I'm just saying for the audience that I have been through several of these shifts that are one-way shifts where you switch from a analog, film camera to digital. And of course there's always a niche, but you don't go back. There's no going back. Except for some very niche special cases. You switch from low speed internet to high speed, fiber or cable, whatever it is. You just can't go back. It's not an option. And so forth. There's a lot of these transitions that you've made. And once you make this transition in one of these places, like the Bitcoin Cash City in Townsville, or as you're going to experience with this conference, it's really hard and painful to go back. You just feel like, I really don't want to go back. I don't like the old way of doing it. The new way is much better. I'd really prefer if we could just stick with the new way. So yeah, I just wanted to emphasize that this experience is significant. The experience of working on a permissionless network and not having somebody doing KYC and everything on every single thing that you do. Sorry to interrupt, but I just wanted to emphasize that.
Yeah, you're right. And I can also emphasize by sharing a different story how right you actually are. After the Bitcoin Cash City conference, I spent almost half a year trying to get paperwork in order so I could move there. Just up and leave wherever I was, move there. It didn't work out because they demanded paperwork I couldn't give them. But yeah, it's that important. All right, so back to the conference. So we actually have a special reason why we chose the date too. So the date is going to be on the 14th and 15th of May, which is going to coincide with the Bitcoin Cash upgrade day. And that's kind of good because usually when Bitcoin Cash upgrades, I sit by my computer and maybe I have one friend over and I feel kind of lonely and I want to talk with people who know and share the same passion as I do. And so by having the conference on an upgrade day, I get to have more company. That's nice. But it's also a very important upgrade happening. So when the upgrade kicks in, this year, we're getting a dynamic block size limit, and the impact that it's going to have on the immediate aspect, like the 5 minutes after it kicks in, is zero. Literally zero. No one is going to notice it. It's going to be so boring, it's ridiculous. But the upgrade has been worked on to and from for, could be well over 10 years, maybe 15, ever since at least before BIP 101. And how to get a future-proofed block size has been a very, very difficult problem to solve. And so I want people who come to the conference to actually feel the emphasis of all that value and feel pride that we actually managed to get this far, and we're actually doing it now. We're no longer talking about it. No one else that I know have managed to do this. Well, that's not true. There is other blockchains that have dynamic blocks, but we have managed to do it now, so that's good.
Yes. Yes. Well, I'd say there's no. I think XMR and BCH are close cousins here, but there's basically nobody in crypto but us who's on that trajectory, right? Who sees that long term. Hey, we actually have to reach that point over there where we're serving the whole world, or anyone in the world who wants to participate. It's a distant goal, and I think there's very few who have still hold on to that, which shocked me. Right, seeing people fall off the wayside was shocking to me. But BCH is still there, still trying to aim for anybody in the world who wants to use it can use it and can work on this alternative platform for commerce and economy.
Yeah, and if you're a company or organization or a project that are looking to BCH and thinking that, oh, right, you have bigger blocks, and so that's great, but those blocks are going to run out eventually, and then it's going to turn into a whole political fest, and we're going to have to fight each other in order to see where it goes, and it's going to split off. It's going to have two different communities, and like half your addressable user base is going to gone. No, you can rely on Bitcoin Cash from here on forward. We will not split the way we have in the past. The dynamic block size is a clear commitment to scaling in the future and scaling responsibly into the future.
Yeah. And look at it's what's we've left behind in our wake. BTC, which has been riding on just the inertia, is now descending into a horrible chaos, and we know what's going to come out of that. But I think a lot of people don't see that yet. So yes, if you're looking for stability and a blockchain that's going to carry you into the future, yeah, you know where to find it. It's right here.
Right. So back to the conference. Why should you come? Right. What do you actually get from paying for a ticket and flying over to Ljubljana, Slovenia? So you're going to get presentations from some of the most prominent projects in the space, those who are at the edge of our technology. You are going to get presentations from some industry veterans who have been in the space for a very long time. You'll get to listen to a panel where some important people talk about like how we're actually going to get this thing into the future. You'll get free lunches both days, including a ticket.
No free lunch.
But most importantly, and I say this, most importantly, you get to have fun and enjoy a celebration together with people who share your passion. That is the most important part. We're going to celebrate this upgrade. So come celebrate with us.
Yeah, man. And that's what I was saying at the very beginning of this space, that this feels like a real one. Like one of the conferences where you go and it's not a show. It's a bunch of people who know what they're doing. They know why they're there. And everybody's got the same idea and is going in the same direction. And it's really powerful. It's really hard to describe how powerful it is to meet all those people in the real world and get to know them and understand who all these people that you're working with, and get a real feeling that, okay, this is real. All these people are actually working on it. These very high powered people and passionate people are working on it. It's something that's very hard to describe.
Yeah, there's going to be people from a lot of different projects there who's going to be willing to talk to you about their projects, their libraries, their tooling, how to use the services and products they make. There's going to be people there who deeply and intimately understands both the blockchain technology behind the thing, but also the more practical aspects, like what libraries they use. If I want to start up a new project, where should I go? Where can I find people invested in the space? So if you're on the technical side and you don't want to come to conferences that are just a bunch of mumbo jumbo talk, then if you come to Bliss, the talk on the side is going to be satisfying.
And if you're an investor who's looking to find projects that have a very serious long-term future, this is some alpha that you won't get in other places. This is, these are the real builders. In the words of the show, right? These guys fuck. These are all the people who are actually building and making the next thing happen. It's gonna be exciting. I'm looking forward to it, and I love that you can actually buy the tickets on TapSwap. That's great. You can
I also actually one of the topic of this. So if you are a builder in the ecosystem, right? If you have a project that has at least 10 users, is publicly available, and people can look at it, and you want to come to this conference, I still have builder tickets available. They come with some perks. I'm not going to list all the perks here, but they're also discounted, so you get to buy them cheaper. The flip side of it is that you need to actually be a builder in the space, and there is a portion of the event where people get to roam around and look at various projects and talk with builders in the space. And if you get a builder ticket, you're expected to stand there and be available and talk with people who are interested in the things you're doing. So reach out to me if you want a discounted builder ticket and come to the conference.
And this is on Twitter. The person to reach out to is Monster Bitar.
Yeah, you can reach out to either the social media accounts for the Bliss conference itself. You can reach out to Jonathan Silverblood on any social media where you actually get a hold of me, or go to the website and see who the hosts are and find them on social media.
Hell yeah! All right. I'm hyped.
There's more.
I can't wait. There's more. What?
Yeah. For those of you who have already bought a ticket, reach and marketing is an important thing in order to be able to fill the entire event and make sure it's end up being great. So I strongly recommend anyone who have already bought a ticket to tweet or post somewhere with the image of their ticket, so that other people can see that, hey, there's people coming here and there's plenty of them, and it's people I want to be with.
Yeah, on that topic, I've posted in the nest there the little announcement video that I made. So hopefully everybody can take a look at that, enjoy that, share that around. And as far as that goes, I think that's also important to sort of setting the tone for the event, right? As I was trying to think, well, we should have some kind of announcement video, and you want it to be a bit attention grabbing and a bit cool and interesting. And obviously I had the theme of the Jessicas, like what would be appropriate for that. And what I came up with, I think, really just reflects the fact that the BCH community has been counted down and out so many times over and over and over again. And yet here we are finally getting vindication that not only have we been doing the right thing and have we been making progress and leading the industry in many ways, but other people are actually starting to realize it. It's becoming undeniable. And so in that sense, BCH is having a bit of a renaissance in the public view, and I think in the morale of the community itself too, and I was really glad that and as well, it's another thing as well that BCH can be a bit feisty. I certainly think of it that way. Bitcoin always has been, but perhaps even BCH itself, post 2017 has needed to be able to fire back a little bit more to really stand up for itself, having been talked down and dismissed by so many people. And I think the video really captures that, and the community's been doing a great job with the Twitter dunks and so on. So I managed to get that in there as well too. So yeah, please, I hope everybody likes and enjoys that video.
I absolutely love it. And like, just watch the whole thing just for the ending where you get to see Jet react to the guy being like, well, yeah, I mean, actually Bitcoin Cash, they got it all since 2017. And just his reaction to it is worth the whole video. I'm trying to get Matthew on the space. He's in the group here. But we're having trouble getting him on the space. We're gonna wrap up soon, because we've talked about the XMR swaps and the space.
Hang on, while we try to get Matthew up,
yeah,
I can speak a little bit about what you can expect in terms of the people who will come.
Yeah, okay.
So before I did this event, I reached out to people in my contact network, which is mostly technical oriented builders, but a lot of them are pretty heavyweight, like Sequest and Roscoe Kalis. And after a while, I decided to actually go after the original OGs, and have been reaching out to people like Mike Hearn and Gavin Andreessen and Rick Falkvinge and similar. And I can't publicly tell you that all of these people are coming, because they're not. But I can tell you that some of these people are coming, because they are. But so far, I have been asked to respect the privacy of these people until they share the information themselves. And so, yeah, if you're someone who, I don't know, hanged out with the old gang, then maybe you want to meet the old gang again. Well, you might do that if you come to the BCH Bliss, because some of them are going to be there.
Bitcoin OG reunion. That's what I'm looking for.
Yeah,
it's great. I love it. Yeah, like I was saying at the beginning, this one feels like something, like one of the special ones. I'm really looking forward to it. It seems like Twitter isn't going to cooperate with us getting Matthew on the space. So I'm sorry, Matthew. I'm trying. So Matthew is, of course, one of the most prolific developers and builders in BCH these days, and he's fantastic. He's one of the very great proofs of you can build and you can do things without being, labeled as a developer or labeled as a programmer or whatever it is. Similar to Bitcoin Cash Altus, all it takes is a little bit of smarts, hard work, and dedication, and you can accomplish a lot of things. And those things are not all in the realm of programming and development. There's so many things to be done for an actual global permissionless money network. It's programming is just one narrow aspect of it. So I'm sorry, Matthew, we couldn't get you up here, but so Jonathan, would you like to say anything before we wrap up on the conference, or anything else that we've talked about with the XMR swaps?
No, but if anyone has questions, feel free to just go ahead and ask them.
Yeah, please. Anyone raise your hand if you'd like to get up and ask any questions about the swaps or the conference. And then in the meantime, Pat, is there anything you would like to cover before we wrap up?
Jonathan, you got to mute yourself, mate.
Nothing more.
Okay, thanks, Pat. And yeah, Jeremy, you there? Anything you wanted to add before we wrap up?
Yes. Yeah, just go buy a ticket. Head over to tapswap.cash. Grab one of these Jessica NFTs. Like I said, we're targeting about 100 people. We've already sold 6. We just sold another one, I think, there. So yeah, get them while they're hot. And you can find more info at www.bliss.cash and follow the Bliss at BCH Bliss Twitter account for more on everything that's going on.
Oh, wait. So so buying the tickets means if you buy early, you get to choose from all the images, right? So the earlier you are, the more.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So you better go now. Go to tapswap.cash.
Yeah. Also,
there's also a variety of prices as well too. So you can get cheaper or you can get your favorite one. But if you show up at the end, well, you just have to get whatever's there.
I can't wait to see how this goes. Absolutely love this. All right, thank you. Udame, are you still there? Anything you wanted to add before we wrap up? And also, before you speak, Bitcoin Cash Autist, Matthew, if you guys have anything, send it to me in DM, and I'll throw it up here before we wrap up.
That was fantastic. I don't have a lot to add.
Okay, yeah, it really was. I've loved hearing all this stuff going on, and I'm looking forward to seeing it all realized. I mean, the conference is already there and moving, and the swaps are already there. But the other thing is, please go to, I put a link in the Twitter thread, atomic-flip.pat.mn. And there's a link there, so you don't have to write down whatever. It's in the thread of this space, atomicflip.pat.mn. And that's the flip starter that is that's crowdfunding, doing permissionless crowdfunding of this BCH XMR atomic swap. So please go participate in that if this is something interesting to you and that you think is valuable. All right. I got something from Matthew here. Let me see. Oh, right. Okay. So he's posted here his year in Bitcoin Cash, 2023 in Bitcoin Cash. And I'm going to put this in the Twitter thread. And this is fantastic because let me just post it here real quick. Yeah, okay, that's in the thread now. So this is fantastic because anybody who, let me put it this way, even the people who are in BCH and who are paying attention on a very regular basis, there will still be in things here that you didn't know about. There's so much going on. And for anybody who's outside and is wondering, wait, what is BCH is still there? What's going on? Yeah, you're totally missing the boat. So this article is there, and if you miss it, you can't blame anybody but yourself. So go check out this article, 2023 in Bitcoin Cash. This isn't like a price pump thing, right? I'm just telling you, there's a lot going on, and there's a lot being built in Bitcoin Cash because we know where we're going, and we know the goal. So yeah, thank you for that, Matthew. I've shared that, and sorry we couldn't get you on, but we'll always you're always welcome to come on whenever you can. All right, well, thank you everyone for joining us, and please share this, let other people know what's going on in Bitcoin Cash. Go get your tickets on TapSwap and go look at the crowdfunding for the XMR BCH atomic swaps. Take care, everyone. It's been very good to talk. We hope this has been helpful for you. Have a good day.
Ciao.